Hey guys, this is Emmanuel from Las Vegas. Thank you for tuning in to my Emotion Code Journey, episode 5. And today, what we're going to talk about is 3 things. I always talk about 3 things. One is chasing symptoms. Number 2 is prescribing yourself. And number 3 is doing what you love to do. So these are 3 things that I've come up in my Emotion Code journey. For those of you who haven't heard what the emotion code is, I always share a really brief description. Basically, it's a practice created by Dr. Bradley Nelson, where he uses muscle testing to tap into the subconscious brain to find out, which is obviously the ultimate computer. Your subconscious brain remembers everything from before you were even born, even in the fetal area, all the way till now, hasn't turned off. It's completely recording everything. And unfortunately, through our journey of life, just because life is what it is, we've received some, overbearing emotions, which cause a thing called the trapped emotion that stays lodged in some area of our body, and later on creates symptoms like maybe you have issues with relationships, maybe you have health issues, maybe you have a negative mindset. There's something that comes out of it. But what we tend to do in this world is we tend to treat the symptoms with drugs, affirmations, goals, vision. Those are all great. But deep down, if there's a trapped emotion inside of you and you haven't released it yet, you'll always go back to the way of living that you're not really reaching your full potential. So the emotion code is a way to be able to treat it so it's forever gone, which is a big difference from treating the symptoms. So that kind of brings me into the, right now I'm actually getting certified. It's March 2016, and I'm on my journey to get certified as an emotion code practitioner. And I've made my decision to share my journey with you. As of yet, I've yet to see someone on YouTube to be able to, tell you exactly the feelings I go through, the emotions I go through, and things that I learned, little tips. And I'm going to actually share it to you guys because either number 1, you're investigating to become an emotion code practitioner, or you're just looking to get treated by one, and so you want to learn more about kind of what we do and what we learn and things like that. So I'm going to get right to it. Number 1 is chasing symptoms. So I'm learning these things from Dr. Bradley Nelson, and he talks about how we tend to chase symptoms. And I want to let you know my background is my parents were both oncologists. So you have to understand that I've been in, and I'm not going to say I've been in the medical field, but I've heard thousands and thousands of discussions of like how to treat cancer patients, My mother was a little bit more cutting edge, which is like she really cared about the diet. She cared about their style of living. They cared about what they're drinking as far as water and, what's their aura at home, like what kind of home environment do they live in, very stressful, things like that. Because that is what basically created, or I would say hyperactivated the trapped emotion that was inside of them. Now, I believe that all her cancer patients, and Dr. Bradley believes that most diseases, 99.99%, came from a trapped emotion. So I'm going to assume that my mother was still, even though she was looking at these different patients, she's still trying to kind of like settle down the trapped emotion. Like it was probably moving at a slow rate where it started slowly showing symptoms of diseases, and she was trying to like dim it down, but in the end there it was, the trapped emotion, and she didn't get rid of that. She just tried to sustain it so it stayed low and it never popped up again through diet, through way of living and things like that. So my father's more straight to the book, which is more of like needs to get treated, and it's kind of like things are already in a disruptive manner and then he treats it. And my father's an amazing oncologist, so I'm not talking bad about him at all. He's an amazing doctor, and so is my mother. It's just different ways of practicing, and it just works for them. So I'm going to get right to it. So the first thing is chasing symptoms. So here's what's funny is Dr. Bradley has a great example where he says, you know what, some people say this, they go, you know what, I'm really, I used to be tired from here and there, like moments in my life, like, last month I was just more tired during the weekend. But then what happens, they said, I think I'm just tired all the time now, And so then what happens is like, I think I should go to the doctor. And then what ends up happening is they go to the doctor says, you have, it's like, doctor, I'm having issues, I'm tired all the time. I used to be tired here and there, but now I'm tired all the time, just chronically tired. The doctor says, well, you probably have, chronic tired syndrome, or something like that, or and so then like, well, that makes sense. I'm chronically tired, and I guess add a syndrome word to it. The point is that he's talking about the symptom. He's not talking about the root factor of why it's like that. They don't know that there's a trapped emotion in that person, but all they're doing is confirming what you already know anyway. So then you go back home and you're like, hey, friend, listen, I just want to let you know, I went to the doctor. I have chronic tired syndrome. And so, doesn't that make sense? And the lady's like, yeah, you were tired all the time. It was chronic. And, I guess you had syndrome to it. But yeah, chronic tired syndrome, and it's just, I'm kind of making stuff up a little bit, but I'm kind of letting you know that we tend to know our own symptoms very well. And the doctor just tends to confirm the symptoms. And he's probably going to give you something just to cover the symptoms. So it's called chasing symptoms. And he's saying don't do that anymore. He's like, try to start looking. If you know about the emotion code, you're a practitioner or you know a practitioner near you, go to them because they're not looking at just the symptoms. They're looking at the root problem and they're trying to rid the root problem, which is way different from what's happening in the medical field right now. They're professionals at getting rid of symptoms. So that's my tip, is that whatever you're doing, either you're becoming an emotion code practitioner or you're looking into it, just know the practitioner is looking to get the root problem, to find out what it is, where it came from, and how to get rid of it as soon as possible. Number 2 is there's a testimonial that involved mold and Neem. So Neem is a plant-based remedy for people that basically who have a mold issue with their body. I wasn't really aware of this too much, but I guess we consume about 14 pounds of toxic chemicals a year. So the average American consumes 14 pounds of toxic chemicals a year, which may create mold, which is, and then basically creates, some people who have MS, they have huge amounts of mold within them. And so what's really interesting is this lady, he goes up there and he's treating her and basically finds out that, okay, you have a mold issue. This is more going into the body code, but he says you have a mold issue. I'm like, mold issue, well, how do you treat that? Do you just get rid of a trapped emotion? What's going on? So then he says you need Neem. And what's really interesting is he has thousands of kind of like, if you have this, then you go here, then you go here. So it's these maps. I believe Dr. Robert Bradley Nelson was highly inspired to be able to create these maps and create an app to go along with it. That must have taken him hours and hours on end, and he did it for the practitioner so that we can know exactly what the person needs. And not only that, the question is, how much does a person need? Because according to Dr. Bradley in his research, he said that the third highest death rate, the third highest thing that adds to the death rate are people that take prescriptions. And you're thinking in your mind it has to do with overdose of it. But no, it's because the toxic chemicals that come from the prescription that are destroying your intestines or your bladder or your liver is the cause of the death. So, and then the number one reason why people die in the world is medical problems, just overall medical. So the thing is, with energy healing, you don't have it anymore because you're not prescribing them these toxic chemicals. You're either giving them something natural based, or you're having the trapped emotion released, and so that they can be healed on the spot. Literally improve someone's immune system 20-30%. So I just thought it was very interesting that you can hold up a product, and he would say, how much Neem do you need? And then he would say 1 bottle, 2 bottles, 3 bottles. Okay, 4 bottles. Okay, or 8 bottles. And he'd say, okay, great. So how much do you need to take a day? 5, 10, 15. Literally, the body can prescribe what you need, because who knows more about your body than your own body? So he says it's called taking your power back. I found that very fascinating. So that's the second subject I want to talk about, is taking the power back. That we've given too much power to these doctors, who are then controlled by the pharmaceutical companies who want to be able to continue to help you out, but it doesn't really help you out in the long run. It's just a temporary Band-Aid, and your body does get affected by it, and there are toxic chemicals that are now running through your body that may offset other issues. So And number 3 is the last thing I always give kind of a self-development tip is love what you do. You know, my parents, they were doctors, and I said, hey, Dad, do you want me to be an oncologist? Or actually, I think I was asking my mother, do you want me to be an oncologist? Do you want me to be a doctor? I said, no, we don't want you to be that. I'm like, well, what do you want me to be? They said, well, we want you to be you. We want you to be happy. Very interesting that they would say something like that. I know you might say, well, duh, they want you to be happy, but I don't see it that way. I say a lot of people live a life where they're trying to impress their parents, impress their peers, impress whatever. And the reality is the only person you need to impress is yourself. And if it's not yourself, it's your creator who gave you a special talent that only you can do. And that if you tap into that talent, every single day is not like a job anymore. You actually love what you do. And that's what I've been noticing about the emotion code, is that I can get passionate about this, because the reality is I believe my mother had a trapped emotion, and I believe she passed away due to the root problem of a trapped emotion. So I'm committed to learn more about this, so that way I don't have to see someone lose their mother anymore. I want to rid people of that. I don't want you to lose your relatives anymore just because you didn't know you received a trapped emotion in your past. So I'm committed to that. It gets me excited. I could do it for free. And so find out what you do. And there are 2 things that I would say would help you out to know if you're doing what you love to do. Number 1, you lose track of time. You basically forget what time it is. You just start doing it, and you don't know what, you just lose track of time. You're like, oh, I forgot to eat. That's kind of one sign of that you're doing what you love. Number 2 is that you would do it for free. Now, most people are like, well, I wouldn't do it for free. You know, I got to get paid. But the reality is, if you love something, you would do it for free. Now, if you can get paid doing it, fantastic. But my mother said, just focus on helping people and the money will come. Emmanuel, don't talk about the money. Talk about helping people and you'll be taken care of. Just think about serving people. That's it. And that was one of the greatest advice my mother ever gave me. Is just think about other people, and the money will come. The money will be a byproduct of the service you provide. With that, hopefully you guys enjoyed this vlog that I did today. This is episode 5. Those are 3 things that stood out to me as I get certified for an emotion code practitioner. You can subscribe below if you'd like to get 5 videos. I'm going to be talking mainly about health and how to improve your life through the emotion code. Little tips if you're an emotion code practitioner. Maybe you'll hear a new insight. Maybe you're looking into the emotion code, you'll hear an insight. But whatever it is, it's all about health and wellness and becoming a better person today than you were yesterday. So I always end my video like this, which is, the world has a false notion that I'll take care of you, you take care of me. But we know on this YouTube channel that if we authentically take care of ourselves, we can take care of others. And as we take care of ourselves, we can change our home, we can change our city, we can change our country, we can eventually change the world. So this is Emmanuel. I will see you guys tomorrow. I actually do a Periscope every single morning. So if you want to see me live, you want to ask me questions, I do a Periscope every single morning around 8:30 a.m., Monday through Friday. And if you don't make that, then you can watch the replay of it. Just look for all the information below on the different social networks I'm in, and hopefully you gained some value from this, and hopefully I added something to your life. So with that, I wish you guys the best. Take care. Bye bye.